Okay, part 18. Here we go.
Go in and find the threat, even though you were in a position to have taken cover and concealment, right?
No, sir.
Your training, which you...
See? She said no, and he immediately went back to badgering her about her training, which he had already got her earlier to say that she got training. So he's switching to something that he can make her say yes to, because she said no.
You've told this jury several times now that you revert to. You've told them that, right?
Yes, I have.
You rely on that training is what you've said.
Yes, I do.
That's why you pulled the gun when you pulled the gun, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why you keep your right hand empty.
Yes, sir.
That's why you backed your truck in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what police do, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're telling me at the most critical moment of the entire thing, your training just abandoned you.
I never said that. I never said my training abandoned me. You said that.
No, sir.
No, because your training says that when you're at this point here, for officer safety, to maximize your safety, do not go inside that apartment.
On a call.
Ma'am, your general orders indicate that you are on duty 24/7.
They do.
Wow. If their general orders say they're on duty 24/7, they need to be getting paid. And that means this shooting she was on duty. Because all I'm hearing is she was off duty. If her general order says she's on duty, that means this was an on-duty shooting. So, I still don't know why they fired her. I didn't read her discipline or if she violated some policy. But they fired her for something. And if she was on duty, I don't know how the hell she's not getting limited immunity on this.
And you know that that training is designed for your safety, first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
And that's not only
So now he's telling her what she knows.
what your orders are. That's how you guys are trained.
Yes, sir.
So for your safety, you should have taken a position of cover and...
Now he's telling her what she should have done for her safety. Unfreaking believable he is allowed to testify like this.
concealment and God help. And instead you decided to go in.
Yes, I did go in.
You had a police radio on you, didn't you?
I did.
Did it work?
It did.
You live 2 blocks away from police headquarters.
Yes, sir.
You know that when you call out as a police officer, the number one thing for every other police officer is to come and help you if you say that you need help.
Yes, sir.
You know that
That's not true. There's a lot of officers that don't give a shit who calls in. So I'd have had to tell him, well, that's not true. There's some officers that don't take cops as priority, and it depends on the call, and it depends on how busy the officers are and what they're tied up on, and if they're on murder situations or murder scenes or any active violent felony, they would not come right away. And as I said, this thing happened so quick. I was off duty. I had my hands full. It was very reactive, and it happened in split seconds. You keep bringing up things that I shoulda, coulda, would have done if I was sitting behind your desk planning it out and making an outline. Unfortunately, I didn't have that option. It happened very quickly, and I had to make a decision to save my life very quickly on what I thought was a life or threat, a life or death situation.
the response time on this call was about 2 minutes, and bodies were at the apartment.
Yes, sir.
So you could have taken a position of cover and concealment. You could have called for help on your radio, and you could have had the cavalry there in 2 minutes.
I could have.
You could have.
Oh my God. Now he's got her agreeing to 3 different things. He's making statements, and then on the last one he goes, couldn't you? And she goes, yes. Now the jury gets to decide, was she talking about the last part, the first and second, the second and third, or were they talking about all 3? Because she disagreed to everything he said. That's all she's done on the stand, because when she doesn't agree, he chastises her and says, answer my questions. Unfreaking believable.
Had SWAT mobilized.
They could have.
You could have had K-9 mobilized.
They could have also.
Right.
I cannot believe the attorney is letting him to go through everything that she could have called the police and had all these. There is no way I know if a K9 was available. I don't know if SWAT was available, another call. And there's no way I'm thinking of any of that. I'm thinking rapidly and chaotically that somebody's in my apartment. There's a body. He's coming at me. I've got my gun pointed at him. I've told him to show me his hands. It's dark. I can't see him. And he charged me and I shot. That's what I was thinking. Period.
And had you done any one of those things, Mr. Jean would probably be alive today. Right?
I'm confused. I don't know what to answer. I pause, and the DA comes back with, right? Because he wants you to give him a response, because every time he talks, he gets a response, and if he doesn't, you get chastised. Watch how he comes back when she pauses to think. She should be thinking, and she should be pausing.
Be alive today. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Yes, sir. I'll just say yes, sir. You can tell she was confused. You can tell she really doesn't know what she just answered. But she just said yes, sir. Because she's been getting beat up every time she says anything he doesn't like, and nobody's helping her. Outrageous.
Nevertheless, you wanted to go in and find the threat. And that's exactly what you did, right?
I did that.
And even after you opened the door, even though you had all those options before the door was fully open, even after that door was opened, you've told the jury 30 feet away, you're seeing Mr. Jean at the furthest back.
Your Honor, he's testifying. Is there a question any time in the future?
Point of his apartment, doing some sort of a side-to-side motion.
And
Right?
I saw a silhouette.
I'm going to ask it again. From the door, you've testified that you could see Mr. Jean doing a
See, you didn't give me the answer that I liked. I'll ask you again until I get the... Your Honor, it was asked and answered. Why is he asking the same question? Because he didn't like the answer. That's BS. But when you don't object, you get a fearful person who doesn't understand this and just goes into, you know what? He's going to keep asking it. I better change my answer. I better give him the answer he wants, or he'll just keep asking it. This is outrageous. I mean, she hasn't had a break. She's testified for a long time. They haven't given her any water.
side to that you watched that for, I think you said 2 or 3 seconds.
Yes, it was. I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was. He's like, okay. So he gets to testify that it was 2 or 3 seconds. She says, I think it was. And he says, okay. Why didn't the judge or jury go, look, she's already testified. We can ask for the record on what she testified to. Why we have a witness saying, I think that's what I testified to. And the DA is agreeing with her. Was there a question? Are you looking for an answer? Are you looking for the truth? Or are you just wanting to belittle and badger this person till she tells you what you want to hear? Outrageous.
I'm not going to hold you to that approximately 2 to 3 seconds. Right?
Yes, sir.
In that 2 to 3 seconds, let's just watch it. 1, 2, 3. In that 2 to 3 seconds, you could have done that too, couldn't you?
I
You
could
could have done that as well, couldn't you have?
do what?
You could have backed away and let that door shut on its own.
I could have.
You could have done that.
Yes, sir.
You chose not to do that.
No, sir.
Instead, you chose to put
It was not a choice not to do that. I reacted and did what came natural. There was not a lot of time to sit around and evaluate and do choices like you're making it out to be.
pull your gun to level it off and shoot at Mr. Jean.
I did do
That
that.
was your choice.
It was my choice.
Even though you could have backed off at least twice now to a position where you would have been more safe and he would have been alive.
I could have.
You see her look at her attorney for help? Did y'all catch that? Look at her look over there like, can I get a break? Can I get something to drink? Can you stop this guy? I got all that from her eye look. Anybody else see that?
So you indicated, Ms. Guyger, that your conversation with Mr. Rivera that particular evening was innocuous, of no consequence, it was just banter.
Yes, sir.
You indicated that, in fact, you didn't pull.
Notice he's using the word indicated. Not that she testified or stated. You indicated, meaning you're lying or implying that it really wasn't true. You're just trying to convince us it's true.
Over once you entered your parking garage, that you drove up and parked in that space where we see your pickup truck on the 4th floor.
I did not pull over.
Let me just ask the question again because I just want to make sure I understand it. Are you telling this jury that when you entered the parking garage, you drove all the way from the gate up to the 4th floor, backed in just as we see your pickup truck?
I did.
Okay, without making any kind of stops in between?
No.
Now, when a DA kind of goes like that, I'm thinking he has some sort of video or camera or witness that says I stopped. So, unless I was absolutely 100%, which I don't think she's absolutely 100% about anything because she's so nervous and frazzled and been through hell for a year and is staring at the guy that she killed and had to recreate all that. So I don't think she's real clear about anything. I always say, to the best of my recollection, I do not remember stopping. I remember sitting here today, pulling up and parking without stopping. That way, if he does pop up some surprise witness or video or camera, it'll be like, I don't remember doing that. I remember going straight there. You got to be careful when you say, I did not stop, because then it's hard to get out of that if they find out alternative. But again, she seems pretty sure she didn't stop. And sometimes they do that just to get you to change your testimony. Oh, you know what? I'll get him to change his testimony by making him think I have something when I really don't have nothing. If I get him to change his testimony, then I can say he changed his testimony. Again, it's all a game. You really got to be on your A game. Like I say, got to be like a midget on a urinal. You better always be on your toes if you're on a stand, because the government's going to, man, they'll jump all over you.
You understand, you've seen from the video records of the Southside Flats, ma'am, that your truck enters at approximately 9:46, right?
Yes, sir.
That is your truck.
Yes, sir.
And then you heard the testimony of Mr. Jones, the coach and the chemistry teacher, who came in here and swore and talked to this jury, right?
Yes, sir.
So he entered at about 9:53, 9:54, which is going to be 7 to 8 minutes after you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and his testimony was that he drove around up to the 4th floor and he parked sometime around 9:54 p.m. Couldn't have been any earlier because that's when he drove in. And that he parked and that he saw you coming around the corner driving in such a way that made him take notice of your white truck.
I heard him say that.
So you believe that to be a lie?
I don't think I drove that fast that night.
Okay, but you understand that if he saw you do that, unless he's lying to this jury for some reason, then you couldn't have already been there like you testified to.
I couldn't answer that, sir.
See, that's not a bad answer, but it'd be like, look, I can't testify to what he saw or whether he was truthful. I know what I testified to, and I know I testified truthfully. I don't know what he testified, whether he was truthful or not. And I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm just saying what I did.
I mean, his testimony was pretty clear that you stood up, especially after you got out of the truck, because you're a police officer.
And my testimony was pretty clear that I drove there. What's your point?
I did back up into my truck and stay on the phone.
All right, but you're gonna stick with that you did not pull over.
I do not ever remember pulling over.
That's good that she said I don't remember. Notice how he's stuck in, oh, you're going to stick to that like it's a lie. You're sticking to your lie. You're going to stick to that story. Man, I'll tell you, man, that's some weaselly punk, cheap DA trick punk.
You said that another thing in this conversation that you were having, Mr. Rivera, Because it was a rather long one, right? 16 minutes and 44 seconds. That was a pretty good conversation.
Yes, it was.
Y'all were talking about, the arrest that had happened that he was part of, that the part, I guess, after he had left is what you all were talking about for that period of time.
Yes, sir.
And you said that another subject of conversation was...
Notice she was going to say more and he interrupted her. No objection from her attorney. He's cutting her off and he's not letting her answer. I think she was going to say, and we talked about other things. But the DA doesn't want her to say that because he wants her to agree that they talked about the thing, and then he wants to be able to say, and I don't know if he's going to do this. Like I said, it's the first time I'm watching this. So he wants to be able to say, oh, isn't it true that y'all sent each other texts or pictures or y'all talked about sex? So it wasn't just talking about the previous incident, was it? See, he got the answer and then he cut her off before she could clarify, and she allowed it. When an attorney cuts you off like that, it's totally okay for you to go, I wasn't finished answering. Can I finish my answer? And then the judge and the attorney will be like, hey, and if you say I wasn't finished answering like she could have said at least 20 times, then he would stop doing it. Because no one else is going to protect her, and she could protect herself by saying, I wasn't finished answering. Can I finish my answer? Don't let them railroad you like that.
It was about the Boy Scout meeting.
Yes, sir.
And you said that another subject of conversation was about the Boy Scout meeting that he had to attend, right?
Yes, sir.
But y'all had already talked about that over text, so why would you have been talking about that again?
Texting's texting, but you can get more through talking.
If this was just innocent banter, Ms. Guyger, if this was just flirtatious...
See how he keeps phrasing it? If it was, you're going to stick to your story. I mean, all those are kind of inflammatory. I'm not sure he could object, but I would object anyway just to get it on the record. Your Honor, the DA keeps implying that my client is lying with no proof. He's saying she's sticking to her story like it's a story instead of it's the truth and that's her testimony. He's saying that, I would just be repeating all that, and I would object in open court so the jury hears it and the judge hears it. And it would spank the DA and call his ass out for being a jerk. Man, this attorney is weasel not to stand up to this DA.
Back and forth, then why does Mr. Rivera, Officer Rivera, check in with you twice, saying something like, are you still there? Why would he do that if there wasn't some plan for later that evening?
I couldn't answer that.
Okay, well, maybe you can answer this then. If there was no plan for later that evening, why would you have the need to tell Officer Rivera that you were just leaving?
I don't know. It's how I just texted him I was leaving, but...
Why? Why would you do that unless you were letting him know, okay, I'm done work now?
It's what I did that night. I can't tell you what reasoning it was a year ago.
Unless you were planning on coordinating schedules, why would it...
Your Honor, the DA is testifying. She's already answered what she did, and she doesn't know why. Why is the DA editorializing and making up things for the jury and testifying on what he thinks she did? Tell him to stick to questions. Man, I just can't believe this DA got away with this shit.
Why would it have even crossed your mind to let him know that you were leaving?
I don't know. I just texted him I was leaving.
And it's just a coincidence that within the couple of minutes of you sending him a text letting him know that you're leaving, you also sent him a Snapchat image, which we don't have, with the text phrase, want to touch.
I did do that.
So that's just a coincidence.
It's what happened that night.
What was that image?
I couldn't tell you.
Was it an image of you or something else?
I honestly could not tell you.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that too, because you indicated to this jury that it was...
You indicated. Your Honor, she testified under oath truthfully. The DA is using terms implying that she is untruthful. Can you tell him to answer or ask the questions and stop adding things trying to impugn my client's credibility with no proof?
Because of some morality on your part that you discontinued the sexual relationship with Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
And that has to do with the fact that he's married and has kids. This was bothering you, right?
Your Honor, how is this relevant to my client's actions when she used or before she used deadly force. How is this relevant?
Yes, it was.
But your morality doesn't seem to be affected at all by sending him naked pictures of you, right?
No, I did do that.
You did that a lot.
I did.
Damn, 10 naked pictures. Shit. I wish I was. Never mind. Let's move on.
And he would sometimes tell you in the kind of poses he wanted you to send, right?
Yes, he did.
See, this is totally in. This has nothing to do with her using deadly force. This is absolutely outrageous. You can't bring up that the guy had marijuana, was using marijuana, was smoked marijuana, had marijuana in his system, could have been selling marijuana, and that's why his door was. You can't bring up any of that, but you can sit here and smear the hell out of her because she sent, and a lot of women send. I've had women take pictures of sexy positions. Big freaking deal. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Why is this a big deal for her? Why? Because the DA's case sucks, and the only way that he has a chance of winning is to try and badger and smear her. Wow, what a weaselly DA.
And you would send him those pictures, right?
Yes, he did.
And it was back and forth. You would tell him to say,
It's not enough that he's trying to send her to prison for 99 years. She's lost her job. She's killed an innocent man. She's had to live with this for a year. People are threatening to riot if she don't get murder. That's not enough. Let me smear her for sending pictures of herself to another guy. Two adults exchanging pictures. Let me make that a big deal and embarrass her in front of this jury. Let me try to get the dumb jurors to say, if she sent a naked picture, she must be a bad person, and therefore I'll vote guilty. Really? What a punk move.
you pictures of his anatomy.
I did.
And y'all had special words for his anatomy too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. And you would repeatedly ask him to send those pictures to you, even up to and including that particular night.
I did.
So your morality, your moral code, I guess out of respect to Mr. Rivera's wife and his kids, puts sex off limits, but anything else is fair game.
I did do that.
All right, so it's your testimony then that even though there was no intent for you and Mr. Rivera to meet up that night, you were nevertheless not going to just go home and crash. You were going to go work out.
It's a normal habit. I was.
Asking again, was it your plan to go home and work out?
Yes, it was.
So your plan was after your shift, you were going to go home. I guess you were going to change.
See, he's allowing him to editorialize, and he already asked the question twice. He got the answer twice, and now he's going to give a statement to the jury about his beliefs, and the judge and the other attorney is not objecting. Out freaking outrageous.
And then where is it that you work out?
At the 24-hour fitness.
Right. Is that within walking distance, or is that a good drive away?
It's a drive. It's downtown Dallas.
Okay. So your plans were you were going to go home, you were going to go to your apartment, you were going to get changed, you're then going to leave your apartment, you were going to go back to your truck, you were going to get in your truck, drive to the gym, and have a workout.
I was.
That was the game plan.
Yes, sir.
Good grief. I mean, that was a complete freaking... I just can't believe there...
So whatever this thing about you being sleepy, it wasn't such that you were incapacitated physically, right?
No, I wasn't completely drained. I just wanted to go work out.
I mean, you wouldn't have been driving on the streets of Dallas if you were going to be running over like pedestrians or hurting.
Your Honor, we're talking about her going to the gym, and the DA is bringing up her running over pedestrians. At what point do we say the DA is out of order? What the hell is going on? Are you kidding me?
I wasn't completely drained. I just wanted to go work out.
I mean, you wouldn't have been driving on the streets of Dallas if you were going to be running over like pedestrians or hurting people, right?
No, sir.
Oh my God, out freaking outrageous that he's allowed to do this. Shit, I'm at 25 minutes. All right, here we go. Next one.